We are at the precipice of such big change in the WNBA, and it is one of the most exciting times in the league's history. And it is not slowing down with this new crop of draftees coming into the mix. So let's dive in. In the past, many of the first-round draft picks were seen as lacking value, and trading them for like a WNBA vet with playoff experience was seen as a smart move. And if you look at those previous years, the teams that did go for a WNBA vet and traded their picks for starters or good bench players were the winners over the ones that got baited into taking the picks. For example, every single team that traded their picks from 2020 to 2022 were top seeds. But that strategy was flipped on its head last season, with Caitlin Clark coming in, Cameron Brink, Rickea Jackson, Angel Reese even, and I would even put Aaliyah Edwards in that, as I think she has a pretty high ceiling, and this next season, I could see her getting good. Not that she isn't good, but I could see her just like growing leaps and bounds. Oh, and let's not forget Leonie Fibic, who technically was overseas and had been playing in a professional league, but this was her rookie year in the WNBA, and she killed it. And in the next few draft classes, there is some all-star studded power coming in. So teams are going to be coveting those first-round draft picks. So I think teams are going to be looking towards their future, because it is very important for a franchise to be planning ahead. And while we all want to like win now, that is not how championship-minded teams think. Now, the coaches, they are the more like, okay, what's going on right now? Let's get it done. But the front office is a lot more behind the scenes, and they are planning for the future's franchise, planning for the franchise's futures. And your front offices, like an Amber Cox, like a Kelly Krauskopf, and I guess even Lynn Dunn, they are the ones that have to find a tricky balance between satiating the now and building for the future. And if the WNBA was ever looking towards the future, it is now more than ever. In 2025, we have Paige Beckers coming in. We have Olivia Miles coming in. Kiki Iriafen. There's just so many. And in 2026, Flau'jae Johnson, which she actually mentioned possibly declaring early, which I am so pumped on Flau'jae Johnson. But her draft year is technically 2026. But if she did declare early, this would change the top picks, at least in the top 5 for sure. I could see her going number 3, and I could even see her going number 2. Please don't hate me. But LSU is undefeated. That remains to be seen as they start entering real big conference play. But she is a big brand, marketable, good, like scores. She's a guard. This is a very guard-heavy draft. And I could see, LA has the number 2 pick. Flau'jae Johnson's mom has been seen, I think it was on social media or something, saying that she wants Flau'jae to go to either Atlanta or Los Angeles, possibly for her music career. But Los Angeles would be such a good landing spot for Flau'jae Johnson in the marketability area. But she is slated to go in 2026, as well as 2 new teams being added to the WNBA, which means 2 expansion, well, I don't know if it's 2 expansion drafts or the 2 teams are in 1 expansion draft. Yeah, I think that's it. But with the 2 teams being added to the expansion draft, that means more players are going to be taken away from each teams. So I can definitely see all the teams adding 12 players to their roster instead of the minimum of 11, because at best, it's just a safety, because each team is going to be losing 2 players. But 2026 pales in comparison to the 2027 draft class, where you have Juju Watkins, Hannah Hidalgo, who is possibly the best player in college basketball right now. You have Malaysia Fulwiley. Gosh, who else? There are so many. So never in the WNBA's history have these drafts been so important. And this coincides and directly affects free agency, because as I think about it, more and more with the new CBA coming in and the new media rights deal kicking in 2026, these one-year deals are pretty risky, because none of the WNBA players after 2025 have signed contracts except for two, Lexi Brown and Kalani Brown, because everybody wants to see what the new media rights deal brings in. There's going to be a lot more money to play with, and players are going to want to get paid more. However, are these new draft picks more valuable than the veteran players, which would be like turning everything upside down? And we are all looking at Satou Sabally and where she will end up. But is she worth throwing out a number one draft pick for this season for just a 2025 contract? She is injury prone, and she has really only played one good season in the WNBA of the few that she's been in, because in 2026, the WNBA will be the Wild West of free agency, and a lot will change. And with her not being relegated to stay, that could change a lot. And with the new CBA coming in, these rookie contracts are going to be so cheap, and their cap space is going to go up, so teams understand the value of them. So the rookies drafted in 2025 will be on the current rookie scale salaries for this CBA as the rookies in the previous seasons. And teams can plan around that with the influx of money that comes in with the new media rights deal. And for anybody who doesn't know what the new media rights deal is, it is basically like Amazon, ESPN, I forgot what other streaming service. They are basically like giving the WNBA money to show the games, and that money is what the WNBA has to pay everything. Their refs, the player salaries, their marketing. But it is important to note that I think it's like 40% of that does go to the NBA, because the NBA owners have been subsidizing the WNBA since its inception. And it's just like any other company that has an investor. The investor is going to look for the buyback, the money that they get from their investment. And a lot of people don't like this, but unfortunately, that's just how business works. So we are seeing an inception of a new WNBA with new strategies, new players, new ways of playing. And I, for one, am just so excited to be a part of it.